Okay, so now i-continue natin yung discussion sa module 2 ng KX6 natin, no, for lesson 2, no, which is yung other issues ng investment in associates. Tapos na tayo dun sa basics. Okay, basics ng investment in associates. So magdi-discuss tayo ng other issues na lang. Medyo konti na lang naman ito at hindi naman siya ganun ka problematic. Okay? So first, let's discuss yung concept notes, no, adjustment of investees operations. So tingnan natin yung mga points dito. First, the most recent available financial statements of the associate are used by the investor when applying the equity method. When the reporting dates of the investor and the investee are different, the associate shall prepare for the use of the investor financial statement as the same date as the financial statements of the investor unless it is impracticable to do so. Kasi diba, tinitingnan natin kung magkano yung net income. Okay? Net income and then yung other adjustments sa equity ng investee. So, syempre, kailangan tingnan natin yung financial statements niya. As much as possible, kung ano yung date sa financial statements natin, ganun din yung sa associate natin. It means, kunyari, ang year-end natin is December 31. As much as possible, December 31 din yung year-end ng ating associate, no? And nakalagay pa doon sa book nyo, no? By no means na dapat hindi more than 3 months. Okay? Hindi more than 3 months yung difference ng dates natin. In case na, yun na nga, magkaiba yung dates natin, request tayo, no? I-request natin dun sa investee company or dun sa associate that if, kung kaya naman, no? Kung kaya lang naman, mag-prepare siya ng financial statements na same date. For example, kunyari, ang ating year is January 1, December 31. No, tapos yung date ng ating associate is July 1 and June 30. Okay, so magkaiba 6 months yung difference. No, kung kaya lang naman, kung pwede lang naman, no? Mag-request tayo na gumawa siya ng financial statements that would cover yung period natin na January 1 and December 31. Okay? So yun yung sinasabi niya dito. And ano pa, if an associate uses accounting policies other than those of the investor, adjustments shall be made to conform to the associate's accounting policies to those of the investor. I think, I'm not sure kung meron tayo dun sa LA1 activities or dun sa LA2 or baka na sa LA3 siya. Pero yung sinasabi dito, kung ano yung accounting policy ng investee, no? Or ng investor, dapat sana yung basis ng pag-compute ng net income natin is pareho siya dun sa ginagamit natin, no? Na accounting policy. Let's say, kunyari, kung gumagamit tayo ng straight line depreciation, dapat sana straight line depreciation din yung ginagamit ng investee. Or kung gumagamit tayo ng FIFO, dapat sana FIFO din yung ginagamit ng investee sa kanyang inventories. Okay? And next, profits and losses resulting from ito. May adjustment tayo sa upstream and downstream transactions which is medyo at somehow pareho siya dun sa my business combination but not totally the same. Okay? Pero dun sa business com, yun nga siya, no? Ang tawag natin dito sa upstream and downstream na rin, the same din naman siya sa business com, intercompany transactions. Okay? Tapos, meron tayong adjustment dyan. Okay? I-adjust natin yung net income nung ating associate. Kasi nga, sabi natin kasi, no, the point of the equity method is that they are viewed as one. No? Ibig sabihin, kung masaya, masaya. Kung malungkot, malungkot. Diba? Income, income, loss, loss. Ngayon, kung, let's say, yung associate nagbenta sa atin, ang tawag natin doon ay upstream transaction, at kinitaan niya tayo, hindi pwede yun. Parang, hindi ka naman pwede magkaroon ng kita sa sarili mo. Okay? Or yung net income na na-report, ni associate, kung ma-remember mo yung mga entries na ginagawa natin before, ito, kung may income, na ganyan, tapos yung income na to, yung shinare mo, kasama dyan yung income na nakuha niya sa'yo. So, medyo kailangan natin i-adjust yun kasi hindi pwede yun sa equity method. So, meron tayong adjustments dyan, no? Sa upstream and downstream transactions. So, sa upstream transactions, from the associate going to us. So, dito, yung naka-realize ng profit or yung naka-recognize ng profit dito is yung associate. Okay? The unrealized profit from this transaction must be eliminated in determining the investor's share in the profits or loss of the associate. Okay? Actually, the same din naman dito sa downstream transactions. Except nga lang, sa downstream transaction, tayo yung nagbenta. Tayo yung may profit. Okay? From us, binentahan natin si associate. Kinitaan natin. So, ganun din yun. Pag may unrealized profit, it must be eliminated as prescribed. PS 28, paragraph 28. Paragraph 28 of PS 28. Accounting issue lang daw is that ang sinasabi, whether upstream or downstream, the same yung magiging natin. Although sa business ko, medyo iba yun. Mas detailed kasi siya. Now, normally dito, yung ina-adjust lang natin is yung upstream transactions. Kasi nga, yung profit na ni-record ni associate, which is the basis ng ating share, diba dito, is may kasamang kinitaan niya tayo doon. So, kailangan natin yung i-eliminate. Okay? Okay, so ano pala to, no? Merong na-mention kasi siya ditong unrealized profit and realized profit for that matter. Pag sinabi natin unrealized profit, ito yung hindi pa talaga na-recognize kasi nga, hindi pa na-benta. Let's say, kunyari, inventory sa upstream. Yung ating associate nagbenta sa atin ng inventory, kinitaan niya. Ngayon, yung inventory na binenta niya sa atin, nandito pa sa atin. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa natin na ibenta sa third party or yung customers natin per se. Okay? We're talking about inventory. So, ibig sabihin, yung profit na ni-recognize ni associate from that sale papunta sa atin, hindi pa yung realize talaga. No? Marirealize lang yon when nabenta na siya dun sa outsiders. Okay? Or sa accounting, para mas madali, yung unrealized profit normally nanggagaling yan dun sa ending inventory. Ending inventory kasi hindi pa nabenta eh. Ending, diba? Pero pag meron tayong last year na intercompany transaction or upstream transaction, yung beginning balance this year, since ina-assume natin yung FIFO we considered it as already sold. Kaya realized na yon. Unrealized ending inventory. Realized beginning inventory. Now, let's see. I think activity 2A, is about this, no? So, let's see the requirements. Prepare journal entries on the books of Heaven company in relation to the investment associate. Determine the share and the profit of the associate for both 2020 and 2021. Determine the carrying amount of the investment in associate. Okay? Ito medyo parang business com actually magiging style natin dito. On January 1, 2020, bumili tayong 20%. So, meron tayong significant influence, presumably. 6 million. On this date, all identifiable assets and liabilities were recorded at fair values. Analysis of the acquisition showed that may goodwill. Yun na-mention natin kanina, or dun sa may part 1 natin. Ito, meron tayong mga ganito kasi, di ba? Yan, may computation tayo. Kung magkano daw yung cost, yan, fair value. So, sabi niya dito, all assets and liabilities were recorded at fair value. So, ibig sabihin, wala tayong letter A. Walang undervaluation in the assets. So, all of the excess will go to the goodwill. Anyway, it doesn't matter na sa atin. Kasi yung goodwill, wala namang effect actually siya dun sa ating mga journal entries. Basta may goodwill. Okay na yun. Next, nagbigay siya ng net income and dividends. Very typical information na binibigay niya, right? So, yan. So, alam natin, very typical yung entry na gagawin natin dyan. On December 10, 2020, the associate sold inventory to Heaven upstream. No? Si associate papunta sa atin. It doesn't mean na, Heaven sa taas. Heaven, pag sinabi nating upstream, basta from the associate going to us. Okay? 900. The cost of the inventory was 600. Ibig sabihin dito, meron siyang profit. Diba? May profit siya na 300,000. No? Nagpatong siya ng 300. The inventories remained unsold. Ibig sabihin, unrealized pa yung 300 na yun kasi hindi natin nabenta for 2020. But noong 2021, since it will be part of the beginning inventory, it will be considered to be sold. Okay? And then at the same time, on 2021 na naman, meron na naman tayong upstream transaction, 750. So, meron siyang 250 na profit dito na pinatong. The inventory remained unsold na naman. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng 250 na yun is unrealized. Take note guys, no? Let's say, sasabihin niya dito na, okay, half of the inventory was unsold. Ibig sabihin, half of the profit lang yung unrealized. Okay? O that's 125. But since walang naibenta eh, no? So, ibig sabihin, all of the inventories remain in the ending inventory. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng 250,000 na to would be considered to be unrealized. Okay? Okay, sige na, let's prepare na. Yung mga typical na entry muna natin. Okay? Yung typical entry muna natin sa 2020. Binili yung investment, debit investment in associate, credit cash. First entry yan. Magkano yan? 6 million. Next, share in the profit. 2020. Share in the profit, 3 million. Okay. Ito pala yung gagawin muna natin, guys. Since nag-report siya ng 3 million, i-adjust muna natin yung kanyang net income. No? Kasi nga sabi natin, merong part yan na unrealized. Lagay lang tayo ng format dito. No? Ang gagawin ko, ilagay natin dito yung 2020 net income saka 2021. Okay? Change natin yung format. Ayan. So, ganito kasi mangyayari, no? Meron tayong unadjusted net income. Okay? Ito yung ni-report ng ating associate. So, lagyan natin dito 3 million saka 4 million. Okay? So, next, ang gagawin natin, ilaless natin yung unrealized profit. Unrealized profit, ito yung coming from the ending inventory nga, sabi natin. Kasi sa business com, it would be like that. Medyo hindi siya obvious eh. So, unrealized profit. Tapos, i-add natin yung realized profit, which is coming from the beginning na yan because it will be considered sold. Pero dito, in-explain niya pa eh, yung na nabenta naman siya. Okay? For 2020, sabi natin, di ba may profit dito na 300? Yung 300 na yan, since 2020, hindi siya nabenta, that's unrealized. Lagyan natin dito, minus 300,000. Okay? Next, for 2021, itong 300,000, sabi niya nabenta na daw ng 2021 eh. So, ibig sabihin, na-realize siya ng 2021. Okay? Pero for 2021, meron tayong sale dito na unrealized. Ito, no? Because sabi niya nga, unsold daw eh, lahat. So, may profit siya dito or may patong siya na 250,000. Unrealized yan for 2021. Minus 250,000. Okay? So, yan yung gagawin natin para pag minus natin yung unrealized, na dagdag na natin yung realized, meron na tayong adjusted net income. Which is this adjusted net income will be the basis of our share. Okay? So, konti na lang muna natin, 27, tapos dito is 4,050,000. Okay? Which is ito, yung magiging basis natin times 20%. No? Yung atin eh. Times 0.2. Yung share natin sa profit for 2020 is 540. Whereas sa 2021 is 810. Okay, ito yung gagawin natin, ilalagay natin sa journal entry. So, dito, yung share natin sa net income ng 2020, ang entry natin, debit investment in associate, credit investment income. Which is, kanina 540. Okay. And then, ito, wala na itong problema yung dividends paid. Wala namang adjustment dito eh. Ang entry natin, debit cash, credit, investment in associate. Sabi natin guys, babawas ito sa investment account natin. Which is 1 million times 0.2. 200,000 yung ating mari-receive. Now, entry number 4 for the amortization, wala tayong amortization, di ba? Wala naman, sabi niya, lahat naman daw fair value. Sabi niya may goodwill, hindi naman gain. So, wala tayong entry number 5. So, yan lang yung ating basic entries na tayo dito. Next, gawin na muna natin yung, ito na determine na natin to guys, no? Requirement letter B is this one. Ito, no? This is requirement letter B, share in the profit. Ngayon, yung letter C, anuhin na rin natin. Kasi magko-compute tayo ng investment in associate na carrying amount. Ang mag-a-appear sa ating balance sheet is, meron tayong cost dito, tapos, plus yung share in the profit, minus yung dividend. Okay? Investment income. Ano may investment income? Wala naman siyang adjustment eh. So, ito na yun. Yan, ito na yan. Next, 2021. Gawa natin yung journal entry. Take note, beginning na yun. Hindi na natin kailangan ulit-ulitin ito. Sa beginning na ito eh. So, ano na yan? Share in the profit na lang. Entry number 2. Share in the profit, which is, kinumpute natin kanina, 810. Okay? 810. 810. Now, next, sa dividend, typical lang, debit, cash, credit, investment in associate. Bawas sa investment account, yung marireceive natin na from 1.5, makareceive tayo ng 20% nan or 300,000. Okay? So, yan yung entry natin for 2021. And then, yung carrying amount ng investment in associate, computin lang natin. Meron tayong beginning balance plus share in the profit minus dividends received. So, 6,850,000. Yan yung requirement ng journal entries natin. And then, yan din yung carrying amount ng ating investment in associate for 2020 and 2021. Okay? So, yun lang naman guys, na when it comes to upstream transaction. Dun sa business ko, mas marami pa doon. Mas marami tayong may encounter doon ng mga intercompany profit transactions. Hindi lang inventories, even pati yung mga property, plants, and equipments. So, let's continue with our concept notes here. Ito lang, medyo may mga ano lang to guys. Just discussions lang. Yung example, tignan na lang dun sa book, no? Kasi hindi ko na siya, walang activity na para sa kanya. Yung iba dito. Now, discontinuance of equity method. Sabi ng PS 28, paragraph 22, provides that an investor shall discontinue the use of equity method from the date it ceases to have significant influence. Pag nawala na, no? Or nag-stop na magkaroon ka ng significant influence, hindi ka nagagamit ng equity method. Pag hindi ka na nakaka-influence sa kanya. Okay? Consequently, the investor shall account for the investment as follows. Ito yung mga na-discuss natin previously sa module 1. Not to profit or loss, OCI, tapos yung cost method. Okay? Test 28, basis for conclusion 18, requires an investor that continues to have significant influence over the associates to apply equity method. Ibig sabihin, kailangan mag-apply ka pa rin ng equity method. No? Pag meron kang significant influence, kahit na the associate is operating under severe long-term restrictions that significantly impair the ability to transfer funds. Kahit na may nasa restriction ito, si associate. Kahit na restricted siya from transferring funds, it means wala tayong makukuhang pera sa kanya, but still, kung meron kang significant influence, equity method pa rin ang gagawin mo. Klinaro lang yan ng PAS 28, basis for conclusion 18. Okay? E paano na pag wala ka ng halaga sa kanya? Okay? Hindi ka niya na pinapansin. Hindi ka na niya kinoconsider. Wala ka ng influence sa kanya. Sabi ng PS 28 paragraph 22. Provides that on the date that significant influence is lost, the investor shall measure any retained investment in the associate at fair value. So, ibig sabihin dito, mag-a-adjust ka. Kasi for example dito, kanina, dito ba yan? Ito. Di ba yung carrying amount niya ng 2021 is 6,850. Tapos, let's say, bigla kang nawala ng significant influence. Titignan mo ngayon, magkano ba yung fair value ng investment natin? Hahabulin mo siya. Kasi sabi nila, the retained investment, ito yon, should be measured at fair value. So, kung magkano yung fair value, let's say 7 million, dadagdagan mo ng 150. Okay? Para maging 7 million siya. Tapos, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng gain or loss. Now, in this case, tumaas, magiging gain siya given the measurement. The difference between the carrying amount, ito yon, tapos yung fair value, kanina sabi natin na 7 million, included in profit or loss. Meron kang gagawing gain, no? Gain. Tapos, syempre, kunyari, wala ka ng significant influence, sabi natin, dito ka nagagamit, no? Wala ka ng significant influence, wala ka ng equity method, Dito ka na. Yun na, ililipat mo na siya, i-reclass mo na siya, financial asset at fair value to profit or loss, OCI, or investment in equity securities. Okay, klinaron nyo lang yan. Next, equity method not applicable. Sabi ng PS 28, paragraph 17. An associate shall not be accounted using the equity method if the investor is a parent that is exempt from preparing consolidated financial statements or kung parent ka daw, no? Hindi ka pwedeng gumamit ng equity method kung parent ka na hindi ka, yun sa kasi guys, sa business combination, merong mga ganun Doon niya i-discuss kung ano ba yung mga exemption na to na hindi ka kailangan mag-prepare. Yung may mga ultimate parent pa tayong tinatawag. Or para sabihin natin, grandparent corporation. Let's say si Ayala Corp. Meron siyang Ayala Land. Tapos meron siyang Avida. Ganyan. Yung mga ganyan ba? Grandparent, parent, saka subsidiary. Yun, may mga ganun kasing rules dun guys Anyway, sabi niya, hindi ka gagamit ng equity method kung exempt ka. Parent ka na exempt from preparing consolidated financial statements or if all, take note, all of the following apply. The investor is a wholly owned subsidiary, partially owned subsidiary, nasa na yan guys business com, of another entity, and the owners do not object na sabi, huwag kang mag-apply ng equity method. Sabi na, sige, okay lang. Huwag na tayo mag-apply ng equity method. The investors' debt and equity instruments are not traded in the public or hindi ka public corporation. Okay? And that is the ultimate, ito yun yung ultimate parent na sinasabi ko kanina. Yung pinaka great grandparent or any intermediate parent of the investor produces consolidated financial statements for public use to comply with the Philippine Financial Reporting Standards. Okay? So, let's say subsidiary ka. Tapos, meron kang parent, si Ayala. Diba? Si Ayala. Tapos, si Ayala, nagpa-prepare siya ng consolidated financial statement. So, pag ganon, pag na-meet niya naman ito, yung mga to, lahat na to, hindi mo na kailangan gumamit ng equity method. Okay? Paano naman yung held for sale? PFRS 5 to pag sa held for sale. Nasa intermediate 3 pa yan. Medyo malayo pa yung madali lang naman yan. PS 28 paragraph 20 provides that if the investment and associate is classified as held for sale, ibig sabihin, ibebenta mo na yung investment mo. PFRS 5 na yan. The investment in associate is classified as held for sale shall be measured at lower of carrying amount and fair value less cost of disposal, which is basically lang naman yung nasa PFRS 5 yan, measurement. Carrying amount versus fair value less cost of disposal. Yun yung sinasabi niya. Anyways, yung PFRS 5 would be discussed siya dun sa intermediate 3. So, hindi natin kailangan emphasize to dito. Paano pag 20% less? Let's say 19, 18, 10, 5, ganyan. If the investor holds directly or indirectly through subsidiaries less than 20% of the voting power of the investor, it is presumed, and again, presumption ito. It is presumed na wala kang significant influence unless yun na, sabi natin, it can be clearly demonstrated. Okay? Kahit na 10% ka, sabi natin before, diba? Pwede ka para magkaroon ng significant influence. Although, sabi natin, the assumption. Ano lang naman to? Assumption na. Yan. Previous module na to. Ang ibig sabihin niya, kung hindi ka gagamit ng, kung wala kang significant influence, wala kang equity method, well, ang gagamitin mo is yung kanina, fair value or cost. Fair value, model, or cost method. Okay? Tapos meron lang dito. I think baka dun yata to sa itong achievement stages. Baka nasa multiple choice siya. Ano ba pag sinabi natin achievement stages? Let's say for example, nung una bumili ka ng 5%. 5% tapos sabi natin, wala ka pang significant influence. Tapos let's say, bumili ka ulit ng another 10%. So naka 15 ka na lahat. So, sabihin natin wala palang significant influence pa rin. Tapos, bumili ka na naman ng, let's say, 7. 7%. Oh, so, ilang percent na meron ka? This is 22%. Diba? So, meron ka na. Let's say, naabot mo na yung quantitative threshold. Meron ka ng significant influence. Yan yung sinasabi natin ditong achieved in stages or unti-unti. No? Unti-unti ka nagkaroon ng significant influence. Wala siya sa PS28. Pero parallel siya sa Businesscom. Yung most naman dito is parallel sa Businesscom. PFRS 3 yun. No? Advanced Financial Accounting to. Paragraph 42 provides that in the business combination achieved in stages, the acquirer shall remeasure the previously held interest at fair value. Ito kasi, let's say, kunyari, ito, dati ginagamit mo is fair value. Fair value, or pwedeng cost din. Cost method. Ito yung sinasabi niya dito na itong previously held interest. Ito yan. So, ang sabi niya, i-measure mo yon at fair value. Okay? So, meron kang gain or loss doon. Yan. Ito nga actually, meron siya dito eh. Simple lang naman yun guys, yung marami siyang kinikwento dyan. No? Kunyari, cost method na lang. Kunyari ito, binili mo siya for 100,000. Tapos ito, binili mo siya ng 250. Ito yung cost mo. Tapos carried at cost lang siya. Okay? Tapos sabi niya, bumili ka ng 7% for 150. Okay? So, yun nangyari. So, magagawin natin, ito, i-remeasure natin siya at its fair value. Okay? Let's say, for example, ito yung fair value niya, itong 15 to yung fair value niya, naging 425 na pala siya. 425. Okay? Ang gagawin natin, itong previously held, let's say cost method ito, no? I-replace natin siya. So, mag-entry ka ng debit. Let's say, i-adjust muna natin siya. Debit, investment in ES, equity securities, cost method tayo. Let's say, credit, gain on remeasurement. Magkano ba to? 350 versus 425. So, dadagdagan natin siya ng 75. Dagdagan natin ng 75. At take note pala, binili mo na to Yan. So, binili mo to before. Kasi nauna mong binili ito bago mo nalaman na may significant influence ka na. Investment in ASO. Credit cash. Anyway, alam mo na rin naman na ano siya magkano to? 150. Ayan. Tapos, nag-remeasure ka ng previous, tapos, i-reclass mo ngayon ito. Yung 425. Debit, investment in associate, credit, investment in ES. 425 na yan. Okay? So, take note, recorded na to, presumably recorded na to. So, dinagdagan mo, 75, tapos ni-reclassify mo siya. So, yung investment in associate mo, itong total na 22 na yan, ito na yun. Yung total na yun na 575. Yan yung initial cost, which is, yung initial cost mo na yan, gagamitan mo ng yung formula natin kanina mga ganyan. Yung mga cost, carrying amount, excess, undervaluation, goodwill or gain. Okay? Yun lang naman yung sinasabi niya dyan na fair value approach. Okay? Sige, try natin itong activity 2A. 2B pala. Para tingnan natin yung other issues niya. Prepare journal entries for 2020. January 1, 2020, meron ka ng beginning. Okay? The following unquoted. So, cost method dito or equity method kung meron tayong significant influence. Let's say, si date. Date, 5,000 shares, which is 1% interest lang. So, masyado sigurong malayo to sa significant influence. Yung kay Ever, 10,000 ordinary shares, 2% na. Medyo malitin. Yung kay Fox, 25,000 ordinary shares, medyo malapit-lapit pa. No? Na, wala siyang sinabi about dito kay Fox. So, cost method ito. Kasi dito pa tayo magkakaroon ng significant influence. Again, the assumption natin dito, as of this point, is wala siyang significant influence. Except dito sa number 3, na bumili na siya. Na? So, let's say, on May 1, dito muna tayo. Gawa natin ng entry number 1. Dale Company issued 10% share dividend. Ang entry natin, 10% sa dividend. Memo entry. Nasa module 1 yan, di ba? Especially pag ordinary. Wala naman siyang sinabi. So, presumption natin dito is ordinary or same class na OS. Dadami yung shares mo, liliit yung cost. Sa module 1 yan. Next, number 2. November 1, Dale. Si Dale pa rin. Company paid cash dividends of 20 per share. Pero si Dale pala to, sorry. Nung ginagawa ko siguro to February 14. Kaya puro date yung nasa isip ko. Sana also. Anyway, 5,000 siya before, 5,000 shares. Diba? Tapos, nadagdagan siya ng nadagdagan siya ng 10%. Ito yun 10% stock dividend. So, ang share niya na ngayon is 5.5. So, therefore, makakatanggap tayo ng cash dividend at dividend income yan kasi cost method yung gamit natin dito na 5.5 shares times magkano daw? 20 times 20 110,000. Okay, that's for number 2. Now, sa number 3, ito na yata yung achievement stages. Ayan, kay Fox. On January 1, 2020, Jam Company paid 5 million for 50,000 additional shares on Fox Company, which represent 20%. Obviously, dito may associate na tayo. 10 plus 20 na 30% na nga. The fair value of all Fox assets net liabilities equals to their carrying amount of 20. Naka-fair value. So, dito ibig sabihin, wala tayong undervaluation. Pero check natin kasi baka meron tayong gain. No? Although, tignan natin dito sa number 4 yan. Yung 10% nito kanina, ito, yung 2 million na yan, ang sabi niya, cost method daw siya. Tapos, nung binili natin, nung nagkaroon na tayo ng significant influence, the fair value naging 2.4. Naging 2.4. So, sige, gawa natin ng entry. First, yung acquisition ni Fox. Debit investment in associate credit cash. Ito muna yung bagong bili na 20%. Magkano yung bili natin doon? 5 million. Ito yung pertaining sa bago, yung 20%. Next. Ang gawin natin, actually, pwede na nga natin itong i-compound pero i-remeasure na lang muna natin siya sa fair value. 2 million kasi yung carrying amount niya, magiging 2.4. So, dadagdagan natin ng 400. Debit investment in ES, cost method kasi OS na lang, to be specific. Kung specific mo pa, Fox company yan. Credit, gain on remeasurement. So, meron tayong gain dito. 400. Ayun na. So, ibig sabihin, naging 2.4 na to. Pwede na natin siyang i-reclassify. Ilipat na natin siya sa debit investment in associate credit investment in OS. Yung kay Fox na to. Which is 2.4 na. Yan. Ito na yung initial cost ng ating investment. Yung 2.4 plus yung 5 billion, this is 7.4 na yan. Okay? So, dito, may na-mention siya sa number 4. Sige, dito na tayo sa number 4. Fox reported net income and may dividends na 22 per share na binayad. Okay? So, gawa natin ang entry, yung typical entry natin dun sa recognition ng income, debit investment in associate, dadagdag sa carrying amount, credit investment income. Which is, ang share natin dito is 30% na, take note. 6 million times 0.3 kasi nung January 1 tayo bumili. So, buong yung taon na yan, 30%. Take note nga pala guys, no, baka may mga problem, medyo tricky ang problem, especially when the board exam. Kunyari ito, binili niya instead ng July 1, kalagitnaan ng taon. So, ibig sabihin, kalagitnaan ng taon ka mag-a-apply na equity method. So, dito, kalahati lang nito yung i-consider mo para sa share. Okay? Pero ito, since take note, no, sa dividend, December 31 na nag-declare ng dividend eh. Wala naman tong about sa period eh. Na-receive mo, lahat ito na 20, ibabawas mo sa investment in associate. Pero dito, when it comes to this, since kung binili mo siya ng July 1, kalahati lang din ito yung a-applyan mo. Anyway, sige, January 1 tayo eh. So, buong taon yan. 6 million times 30%. Okay? 1,800. Tapos, gawa natin ng entry yung dividends. Debit cash, credit, investment in associate. Babawasin sa carrying amount. So, sabi niya 20. So, ilan ba yung shares natin dito kay Fox? 25 plus 50, no? So, 75,000 shares. Times 20 each. 1.5. 1.5 million yung ating matanggap. Last thing na lang, i-check na lang muna natin. Baka meron tayong gain eh. So, mahirap na. Ito, dito na lang. Direct na lang tayo. Ito, example natin kanina eh. Yung cost na gagamitin natin initially is yung 7.4. So, nagaling yung 7.4, itong 5 million. Saka ito. Yan, diba? Ito yon 5 million, saka ito. 7.4, yan. Ngayon, dito, may share tayo sa 20 million niya. 20 million yung fair value times 30% yung atin. So, times 0.3. 6 million. Actually, meron siyang goodwill. Goodwill yan. Anyway, yung goodwill na yan, hindi naman natin siya ina-amortize eh. So, for these purposes, wala siyang additional entry. So far, ito lang yung mga journal entries natin. So, that is for 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yun lang muna, no, for our learning activities 1 ng module 2. After this, of course, pwede ka nang magsagot ng iyong learning journal kung meron ka man lang sanang natutunan, at syempre pwede ka na mag-proceed sa LA2 for multiple choice exercises.